Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So in the last tutorials have been this is a continuation of our API series, building an e-commerce API using FastAPI Python backend library. So in the last tutorial I've been able to perform some CRUD functionality. We have written the logic to post product data to our database. We have been able to retrieve the products, retrieve specific products, and also written the delete function for products. So in this tutorial, we're going to write the update functionality to update the different products and also the profile, business profile image, business profile details of the different businesses on our platform. So let's get started. So before we do that, let's just go into our models.py. So in here you can see that in products database, right, I want to add a new field, and this new field is going to be called product date published rather. So it's going to be called date published rather. So I wanted to call it product date published, but let's just call it date underscore published. So date published, we're just going to pass it in here, date published, and the date published is simply going to be the date at which this product was published. So it's going to be fields dot date time field, and you're simply going to pass in a default, and the default value is going to be date time dot utc now, like that. So it's going to be datetime dot utc now, and it's going to be the default. And this is you don't actually call this function, you just pass it in as a parameter. So it's going to be as an argument rather. So this is going to be a callback function, as we call it. So it's going to be a callback function, and also make sure that you have datetime imported. So from datetime import datetime, and then you have that right there. So now that we have added that field, I would also exclude some fields from our database. So in the business by identic in, whenever you're providing a detail, I don't want any ID of that business. Since the ID is going to be passed into the URL, so it's going to exclude that URL in the body section. And also I'm also going to exclude the product underscore image on the product in. Whenever posting a product to our database, we don't need you to provide in the product image. That will be configured by the backend. So we also don't want you to publish to provide in the date published, so since we'll be able to calculate that ourselves. So we have the date published, which is just going to be this one, and then we have the email product image, which is going to be this one. So we're going to exclude these fields from our product by identic in, and we're going to exclude these fields from our product by identic from business by identic in, rather, logo and the ID. So now that we have that, they are great. Now whenever we have that our database, now we need to delete this database. So I'm simply going to go ahead and actually delete this database, and then we'll create a new one, because current products in there do not have the date published field, so it will give us an error whenever we try to run our program. So we'll just delete it, and then when we run our program, we'll create a new database from fresh. So let's go ahead and actually run our program again. So I'm just going to click this, and I'm going to go into I'm going to open uvicon main. This is actually main, and then app. So run that, and this is going to simply run the development server at localhost at port 8000. So I'm going to go to Google Chrome, and then make sure I have that there. So let me just make sure I have that there. So I'm just going to refresh this, and this is going to bring us to the Swagger UI here. So you can see currently there's no information on our database since we deleted everything. So let's go ahead and actually register user. So let's go to user registration, and then let's try this out. So I'm going to provide in the user's details, and it's going to be just test user 123, and then the email, I'm just going to provide the email. The password is going to be secret. So I'm just going to go into temporary email, get a temporary email, and then use it right here. So paste it there. So this is going to be the temporary email, and the temporary email, the secret, and then the test user 123. So I'm just going to execute this, and then it's going to create that user, and then send us an email, and then we can verify our email from there. So I'm going to come in here, and you can see this is the email. Let's click on this one. This is the latest one, and then let's go to verify, and then let's go to our email is now verified. So we can just go back here, and then now that we are here, we can simply go ahead and actually just minimize this, and let's add a product to our database. So add product, and then we're going to add product. First let's log in with that newly created user, so secret, then authenticate ourselves, and then now we can go ahead and actually try this out. and the product here is gonna simply be called milk, and then it's gonna be the category of grocery, just like that. And then the quantity is gonna be, the price is gonna be 200, and then it's gonna be 100 and 50, and then let's say this is gonna be on the 17th, sorry, okay, let's say the 21st. That's also fine. And then also let's go ahead and actually execute this. We're gonna add the product to our database and then return to us that product info right there. So if I minimize this and then go to get product and then try this out, I should be able to get that product with an ID of 1. So great. Now let's write the update functionality to update our product. So just below the delete function, I'm going to create an app dot there's going to be a put, and it's going to go to product dot, and then you're going to provide in an ID here, and this is going to be the ID, and then we have an async await function. So it's going to be a sync, and then def, and then this is going to be update underscore product. It's going to take in an int, and ID is going to be of type int. It's going to take in the currently logged in user as well as the profile, the update information that we're going to get from the front end. So just tap that there, and then I'll have update underscore info, and the update info is going to be of type user. This is actually going to be product pydantic in. Okay, so product pydantic in, that's going to be the one for the product. And also we're going to get the currently logged in user, and it's going to be user is going to be user pydantic, user underscore pydantic, and it's going to be going to depend on get currently user, which is going to return to us the currently logged in user. So now that we have all of that there, we're going to get the product, and the product is going to be, you're gonna wait this process. It's going to be product dot get. So we're going to get this from our database. ID is going to be the ID that has been provided, and then you're going to do business. So we're going to business, and they're going to await this process as well. So we're going to be await, it's going to be product dot business. So we're just going to get the business that is related with this specific product, and then you're going to get the owner of that business to make sure that the owner is a currently logged in user. So you're going to await this process, and this is going to be business dot owner. So what I've simply done is get the product from our database based on the ID. Based on that ID, based on that product, we get the product business, like the business the product belongs to, and then we get the owner that the business belongs to. And then what you're simply going to do is going to check if user is equals to the owner dot owner, and product original price is going to be is not equals to 0. So what you're simply going to do in here, you're going to simply going to what you're simply going to do in here, first of all, we're going to get convert this product a. So it's going to be update info is going to be update info dot dict, and then you're going to exclude underscore unset, and be unset, and this is going to be true. So exclude unset is going to be true. So what you're simply going to do is you're going to add a field to this. So you're going to say update info, and then you're going to say date underscore publish. That is the field that you have prohibited the front end to pass in, so we're going to pass it in here. So we're going to say date time dot UTC now. So great. So make sure that you call it this time around, because you're not passing it in. It's not a callback function. We need to just pass it, call that function explicitly, and then make sure that you have date time imported right here. Okay, great. So this is going to be if product. This is going to be if update info, and then you're going to get original underscore price is not equals to 0, because we don't want a division error by 0, so we don't want the original price to be 0. So if that's the case, what you're simply going to do is that you're going to now update the product and then submit that into the database. So you're going to do going to simply say await this process, and you're simply going to say update. So this is going to be product rather, so my bad, this is going to be product dot update from dict, and we're going to pass in our update info there. So it's going to update it from our dictionary, and then we're going to get a response, and the response is going to be it's going to await this. So we're going to say product pydantic. What you're simply going to do is going to say from Tortoise ORM, and we're simply going to pass in our product there. So product. So now that we have that, we're going to return, and then you're going to return a dictionary here, status, and the status is simply going to be of type OK, and then you're going to return a data key, and a data key is going to have the value of response, just like that. And then in case there is an error or there is an exception, you're going to just copy and then return that HTTP exception. So this exception can be due to two things. The first one, it could be because the is not authenticated or invalid user input. As a result of this negative this value being 0 or something, you get negative you get invalid user input error. If you are not authenticated, then the authenticated error will be there. Okay, so great, that's all we need to update our product. So we just get the product, and then we created this into a dictionary. We obtain the published date, which is going to be the current date at which the publication was made. And then if owner is equals to currently logged in user and the original price is not 0, then we'll need to perform these actions. But before we do that, we also need to down here we also excluded the percentage discount field. So let's go ahead and actually also calculate that field. So I'm just going to bring this up here. So I'm just going to say update info, and then you're going to pass in the percentage updated field. This is simply going to be update info. You get the original price minus the update field info, the new underscore price, and then should I get the spelling right? So new price, and then you're simply going to divide that minus, sorry, this is going to be divided by the update info, the original, this is going to be original price here, original price, so original underscore price, and then all of that multiplied by 100. So this is just going to get us the percentage discount. So you're just going to find a difference between the old and the new price divided by the old price times 100%. Okay, and then make sure that you watch out for these parentheses, okay, to avoid any precedence, operator precedence issues. So I'm just going to save that, and then that's all we need. So this is going to calculate the percentage discount. This is going to get us the date field, and then you're going to simply update it from a dictionary, and then get a response, and then return that response to the front end, else will throw an exception. So percentage discount. Okay guys, sorry I had to pause the video for a while, I got interrupted. So let's continue with where we left from. So what you're simply going to do is we're going to store, one thing I forgot to do is that I'm going to store this in a variable. So I'm going to simply store this in product, and then I'm going to store that there. So what I'm simply going to do after doing that is I'm going to save that product. So I'm going to do product.save. okay, save that. Okay, so save. So what this simply does for us is it does the mapping between the different fields and the values that we provided using the key value pairs. And then now we got our model. Now we need to save our model. So I'm going to await on this process, await that, so that you can save the model, and then return the model, get a format that we can transfer over HTTP, and then transfer it and then return that to the user. So I'm going to save this, and then go back to my terminal, stop my development server, and then make sure I start it again, since I'm not using the reload flag. Okay, so now I'm going to the front end, and I'm going to refresh. So I go to get product, and I'm simply going to execute this part. It's going to return to us one product with an ID of 1 with those specific values. So I'm going to log in, I'm going to type in secret, and then my password is secret. Okay, and then I'm going to authenticate, and then now that we have that, you can see now we have the upload, the put section where we can now make updates. So you also need to be you must log in order for you to be able to use this section. So I'm going to type in an ID of 1, which is the ID of the product that we have, and I'm going to turn this into powdered milk, and then the category is just going to be grocery, and then I'm going to change this into 250, and then this should remain 150, and then I'm going to change this to be on the 27th, just like that. And I'm simply going to now execute this on our front, and now you can see it has returned to us the updated information. So also let's check here to make sure it also reflects here. So let's just refresh this, and then we can see we have that information there, and everything has been updated appropriately. So guys, now that we have written the functionality for updating our product, let's write the functionality to update the different businesses. Okay, so I'm just going to write it here. So I'm just going to say going to be app dot this is going to be put request, and it's going to go into /business, and then this is going to be the ID of that business. So what you're simply going to do is to get the business information. So what you're simply going to do here is, first of all, the user also must be okay, first of all, let me just write the async await function. I'm just going ahead of myself. So it's going to be update underscore business, and this is going to take in it's going to take in ID, and the ID is going to be of type int. It's going to be taking in update underscore info, and this is going to be business by identic in, okay, business by identic in, and also going to be taking in the user, which is going to be user by identic, and then this is going to be depend on get current user. Is going to get as a currently logged in user. Okay, so now that you have the currently logged in user, what you're simply going to do is going to say update this is update. It's gonna be update business. Okay, let's call it update business. Okay, instead just going to call this one update business, and what you're simply going to do is update business dot dict. You're going to convert it to a dictionary. Okay, and then now that we have that, what we're simply going to do is we're going to say business. The business is going to be going to fetch the business from the database. It's going to be business dot get, and then you're going to pass in our ID equals to the ID that has been passed, and then you're going to get the business business underscore owner, and the owner of the business is going to be you're going to await this process, and it's going to be business dot owner. So you're going to get that owner of that business. So now that we have all that information, you're going to check if the business owner is actually the currently logged in user, because you can't update something that is not that you didn't create, right? You can't update other people's accounts. So it's going to be if user is equals to the owner of that business. So, and now what you're simply going to do is going to await this process. You're going to say business dot update from dict, and I'm going to pass in this is gonna be business update business. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and then simply paste it in, and it's just a dictionary. Okay, so update by dictionary takes in a dictionary, and then updates by that but info. So I'm going to copy this, and it's actually business owner. Okay, so now that I have that there, I'm going to simply go ahead and actually going to save that business into our database. So business dot save, just like that, and then save it, and then get a response. Response is going to be equals to await this process, and you're going to say business underscore identic dot from Tortoise ORM. So from Tortoise ORM, what you're simply going to pass in, you're going to pass in business going to pass in this business information. So you're going to pass in this business, and then what you're simply going to do is that you're going to return a HTTP response. So we're going to pass in a dictionary, we're going to pass in a status, and that is going to be okay. In fact, I can just copy this from here, so I can copy all of this part from here, copy that, and then paste it here. So paste that, and then fix that indentation, remove this part. Yeah, that's basically it. But in here, you're simply going to return an authenticated, not invalid user error. Okay, so you're going to return a status, and the status is going to be the response. Okay, we're going to return a response, and the status is going to be okay. In the data, it's going to be a response, which is just the newly saved information, and then you're going to return a HTTP exception in case anything went wrong. So I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to come in my terminal, close this, and then restart my development server again. So restart that server, and then go to the front end, and I'm going to refresh this, and you can see now I have this one for the business side. Okay, so secret to update the business information. So I'm going to authenticate myself. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to try this out. So the business ID, you can just go in here, right? So one thing I also did is that we also have to return the business ID to the front end. So I simply added the business ID. So you just have to say business underscore ID. It's just going to be business.id. Make sure that you add in that in there, because if you go to get specific product, right, and you try to provide in a product an ID of 1, which is the product we have in our database, you can see the product business ID is 1. Now we're going to be using that business ID in order to update this info. So if I pass in the business ID here, I can provide in the business name, maybe call it test user, let's call it test user limited. The city is Nairobi, and then the Nairobi county, let's just call it like that. And then the description is you can say selling groceries, just like that. And now I can go and actually execute this. You can see now we got back the response. Everything has been updated. So now if I go back here and try to get this businesses info and I execute this, now you can see it has been updated. You can see Nairobi selling groceries and all of that information. That's great. So what I was thinking is that you can, to update other information, the front end can make use of this other route. So the front end can send this update information to the back end, and then the back end is going to return this response containing the business ID, and the business ID can be used to update the profile image, since you already have that functionality to update the profile image. So you can use that. You can see here, you can update the profile image for the business. So if you update, all you need is if you try this out, you need to provide in the currently logged in users. It will just then update that business information. So that's how you can also update that business information. In case of a product, you need to provide in an ID, but in case of a user, you just update the current the profile of the currently logged in user. So that's how you can update that. So whenever you update a profile, maybe the details of the business, all you have to do is also make a request to this route, and then the profile image will be updated for the currently logged in user. If you go into the profile update here, so the profile update will be updated for the currently logged in user. So we don't need to write the logic again for that, because we'll be doing the same work twice, right? So the front end, we just have to think of a way to implement that, and that's one way to implement it. So guys, thanks you for watching. This is the end of this tutorial. So in the next tutorial, also write the delete function to delete the business information, and then some of you guys have requested that we also write a password reset information, password reset routes, and I'm also working on that. So I'll also be uploading that video, and if there's any suggestions, we can also add on to this project. Okay, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Keep safe.